We're already at episode number 9 in the Book of Hopes. I hope that you've been reading your own stories and poems at home too. I know that Reception and Year 1 have been, because the teaching assistants have told me how well they've been doing with their reading. Well done, Reception and Year 1.
Today's first reading is read by Miss Robinson and is called Me, written by Swapna Haddow.
I love me. I love the way I shoot through the sky when I jump, jump, jump. I love my stretchy arms and all the shapes I can make. I love my wobbly belly and my wiggly toes. I love my curly hair and my brown skin. I love my brain, my brilliant thinky brain that maps my voyages and paints my daydreams. But sometimes there are days when I'm not sure I love me as much as the day before. So on those days, I squeeze my eyes shut and I take a deep breath in and I blow that thought away, so far away. And I hug my arms around me and squish me hard. Then I jump and I stretch and I leap up high. And I sing and I shout and make shapes and I wiggle my toes and wobble my belly. And I dance on my head and think all my thinks. And I remember just how much I love being me.
Next is Mrs. Davies reading First Flight by Katie and Kevin Sang.
Hello everyone, I hope you're well. Today I'm going to read you a story about a baby dragon who flies for the first time. The story is called First Flight and it was written by Katie and Kevin Sang. The baby dragon watched from her cave as her mother and all the other dragons flew off into the sky. She sighed wistfully. She too wanted to fly, but she wasn't ready to fly yet. Her mother said she wouldn't be ready until the next full moon. The baby dragon squinted up at the sky, where the moon was already out. It was a half moon. The baby dragon huffed. Surely that would be good enough. She did a little hop. There, that was practically flying. She hopped again, and this time spread her wings. When she sat back on her haunches and spread her wings, they stretched high above her head. But she had only just grown strong enough to open them fully and was still getting used to them. They didn't feel like they belonged to her. They felt borrowed, like she needed to grow into them. But wings were wings. She hopped again with a little more force. This time she stayed airborne for just a moment. Aha! Now all she had to do was flap. Surely that was it. She did a few tentative flaps. Her effort sent dust flying up into the air all around her. She was surprised and pleased by her own strength. I can do this, she thought. She started to flap harder and promptly fell over, scuffing her snout on the cave floor. She looked around, glad the cave was empty and none of the other dragons had seen her. Flying shouldn't be so hard. She was made to fly. She'd even done it in her dreams. The baby dragon went to the edge of the cave and peered over. She was high up. Very, very high up. A gust of wind blew past and tickled her ear. Wind, that was what was missing. The wind would help her fly. She took a deep breath. She could do this. She was a dragon. Everyone knew dragons flew. She backed up a little bit and ran as fast as her little legs would go towards the edge, and then, without thinking about it, she leapt into the air and spread her wings. She was flying, she squeaked with excitement. Wait, perhaps she was falling, not flying. She flapped faster and faster, straining her neck to keep it as high as it would go. She could do this. Fly, 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 she whispered to herself. And then a gust of wind from below lifted her up, filling her wings like a sail, and she soared across the sky. Then she glanced down. Her mother was flying beneath her. The baby dragon suddenly realised it was the force of the air from her mother's giant wings that was keeping her aloft. Still, she was flying, and it was wonderful. Her mother flew higher until the baby dragon gently landed on her back. You are very brave, said her mother, but next time you want to fly, wait for me. I hope you enjoyed listening to the story, and I can't wait until we're all together again at school. Hopefully that will be soon. Take care. Bye.
Our final reading is a story by Miss Akousah called Learning the Language of Birds by Jackie Morris.
In years to come, you will think of this time as the time of the great quiet. It will seem to you then that the earth was holding her breath, waiting, watching. Cars silent in the streets, planes absent from the sky. After a week, the air will seem cleaner, colours brighter. But the nights seem darker, perhaps because the stars glowed brighter. Fear wandered in the dreams of some, anxiety stalked. And you will wake in early morning as the light slipped into each day and listen. You would hear sweet notes rising with the sun to greet the light. You would hear across the silence a response. You would listen as the other voices lifted to song. You would begin to learn each different voice and begin to see them. And soon they were no longer just birds, but became robin, blackbird, thrush, greenfinch, goldfinch, sparrow, and jay. And you will follow the textures of birdsong, call and response as it moves with the sun. And you will feel for the first time how the sun was lifted into the sky each day on birdsong. You will feel the turning of the earth beneath your feet as the song travelled with the path of light. You would hear the turning of the world as each day dawns at the edge of darkness, at the edge of light. You would know that others were listening as the song moved with the light. And you will learn that if for a while it seemed the earth stood still, holding her breath, if it seemed that the nights were darker, somewhere on the turning world the sun was rising. The birds were singing, a wave of song in an ocean of sky. And you would know that others would hear those voices. Out of the silence, just before dawn, you would find the threads of hope as the breath of birds became song.